Hello, Nick. Thank you so much for joining me on the podcast today. I'm sure we'll have a great chat. But firstly, how are you doing?
I'm good, thanks, Baker. Are you?
Yeah, good. Thank you, and looking forward to chatting. Of course, as you know, I'm a big fan of the show Hunted. I think it's brilliant. But to start off with today, as there may be a few people who are watching who aren't as familiar with the format, do you want to give a little explanation as to how the show runs?
Yeah, so Hunted is where a group of experts, so we've got ground hunters and hunters in the HQ. It's a full-blown investigation, and the fugitives, if you've seen it, the main show is for money at the end of it, and they have to get to the extraction point. And then we have the celebrity one, which is stand up to cancer.
And your role is a ground hunter, and basically, I think it says it itself, doesn't it? Chasing down all the fugitives, trying to hunt them down and capture them.
Yeah, it's great fun. It's tiring, but we've got an incredible team that all work together. And whether it comes from the HQ, they guide us. And yeah, and then when we get to the fugitives, the chase is on.
So let's talk a bit about how your role came about on Hunted. Then, how did you first come about and get the role to be a ground hunter?
I was really fortunate. So before COVID, someone reached out to me from the production team over LinkedIn. My background, I'm ex-military and also trained in surveillance, first protection, private investigating. So it kind of fits the bill for those that they need as ground hunters to kind of push and drive the investigation forwards. And after COVID, the production went back into play. And yeah, and I was fortunate to be offered the position of ground hunter.
I was going to say, do you want to explain a little bit about yourself, like what you like doing and what you get up to outside of Hunted?
Oh, I just work, Baker, constantly working. Um, yeah, so yeah, following on from my career, I have my own company, so it's a consultancy firm. And primarily, we look after kind of security, covert ops, whether it's surveillance, I do close protection, work with some incredible teams. Yeah, and the company has just set up a project to support veterans, those that are still serving or those that have left and have been suffered with injury or illness.
Brilliant. And it's a very good thing. And I guess all of your, like what you said, being ex-military and doing your consultancy job, did that all help with getting into the role of being a hunter? Because of it sort of entails a few things what you already had experience in, if I'm right.
Yeah, I think I've always, having been in the military for 10 years, the jobs that we do, they're serious jobs, and stepping outside into civilian world and doing surveillance close protection, you're protecting the life of others. So when the opportunity comes for ground hunter, it offers me a couple of months a year of, fun. So it's maximum fun, minimal risk, which is unusual in the kind of field of work that not only I work, but all the other hunters work.
So it's all like a similar type of thing, really.
Yeah, so there's a couple of ex-military, ex-police, and active police, quite a few active police on the team as well. So the level of experience and expertise is phenomenal. And to work in a whole team, with all of the training and experience coming together, it's brilliant.
So that's what I was going to ask. That do you hunters outside of the show and everything all get on really well together?
Yeah, so some people look at it and think, how authentic is the show? Is it pieced together? Does everyone get on? And you'll always find that with any team that you work in. But like I said, I'm extremely fortunate, with the ground hunters, the HQ, and you'll see with PCAID, the charity fundraiser that we're doing, we really are a family. We come together, we help each other out, we try and advise, support each other the best that we can. So yeah, it's just a phenomenal team to be part of.
And we'll definitely come on to that later because it's an important thing. And of course, you came down to Middlesbrough, where
Yeah.
my hometown at the weekend. So we'll definitely be chatting about that one. But I want to now talk about filming of Hunted now. How long does it roughly take to film a whole series, and how long are the fugitives typically on the run for?
So for us hunters, we kind of take a good couple of months out of our everyday lives to film. So with the main series and the celebrity series, we're looking probably about 6 weeks on average that we're out on the ground covering both series.
So, of course, it's a long time to film a whole series, and I was wondering because a lot of pairs of hunters, does each pair have a different? Does each pair have different designated days for when they're going on the hunt and on duty?
So at the beginning of every show, before it starts production, we get given our partners, and then that is our partner. So we might be with one partner for the main series and then a different partner for the celebrity, or some stay with the same partner. And then we work together throughout. So, you know, if we're running for 3 or 4 weeks for the main series, then we are working for 3 or 4 weeks. There is some downtime that come, but it is an authentic live investigation. So while we're sleeping, those fugitives are moving.
Yes, sneakily moving. I know. Some people have some crafty tricks, but I was wondering, as if I don't know if you can say too much about this, but is there something where the fugitives have to keep on moving? Because I was thinking if I randomly went to some, I don't know, some caravan park in Fleetwood and stayed there for the whole 6 weeks, no one's really going to find me. So is there something that they have to keep moving?
Everyone always asks these questions, and you know I can't give away all the secrets behind the scene. But what I will say is the production team for us hunters are a different production team for fugitives. So it's almost like two completely separate productions. And the reason for that is to keep it authentic. You know, we can't cross over. And, you know, it's the same as yourself. We only see kind of the edit and how it turns out, you know, when it gets aired for the public to see. So when we're moving every single day, we have no idea what's going on in the background. And we really don't even know whether we were close or whether another hunter team was close or not. So we know as much as you.
Because I guess you are basically just relying on the information you're getting from the hunters in the office, aren't you?
Yes, so the intelligence will come in, the intelligence gets filtered to us. We'll go to a location where there is, you know, suspect movement or associates, and yeah, and then we try and build the intelligence picture up there. We're not kind of guided and dictated to for a show, you know, where it's all scripted. It's not what you see. It's obviously it's a slightly different because there's an edit and there is so many hours that we film. Like
Yeah.
we are absolutely exhausted by the end of it. So they have to edit it to make a show. Otherwise, the episodes will go on, you know, 500 hours long. But it really is as authentic as it can possibly be for a show.
I can imagine, like you said, that it's quite a tiring job as well. All the traveling and all the running that's having to be done to track down the fugitives.
Yeah, as you'll see on the last series, if you watched it this year, is, you know, we're in them new vehicles, the Defenders, and that is our home. You know, whether it's for 3 weeks of main or 2 weeks of celebrity, that is our home. And it's me and another hunter, and then we have an incredible team behind. So, you know, PDs, APs. So if they all make it happen, and we all get on, we all have to work together. And like you said, when we watch it, we try and figure out whether the fugitives have set rules, and you can see set patterns with different kind of episodes, and you can kind of guess, you know, maybe they need to move on, maybe they need to go to, you know, withdraw money from cash points. But then that's just part of the show, and then trying to piece it together ourselves and, you know, those watching.
So I bet there's a real good feeling of satisfaction when you do catch a pair.
Yeah, do you know what? You get this kind of feeling in the pit of your stomach when you're close. You really do. And the adrenaline, even though, you know, it's being filmed, the adrenaline is as real as it would be on the ground in a real life situation. When you see them, you know, you kind of sometimes you get a bit flustered. You're trying to undo your seatbelt and stop the vehicle and get out and,
Yeah.
you know, and run. But when there is a capture, you know, it's great fun because the fugitives are tired, they're mentally depleted. You know, imagine yourself playing a game of hide and seek for, you know, 15, 20 days constant. You know, you don't know who to trust, you don't know what you're doing or where you're going or where you are. And tiredness, you know, can make you make irrational decisions, and sometimes that's where it catches them out. But when we all come together and there is a capture, it's great. They're happy that they're seeing someone new. There's a new conversation. They can relax down. It's just a great feeling.
I was going to say, do you sort of have a conversation with them and speak to them after you've captured them and all of that?
Yeah, we're fierce hunters, so it's very much once you've been hunted. But as soon as we've captured them, yeah, we have a giggle and yeah, we try and make everything as comfortable as possible. And at the end of the day, it is a game show for them. And it is emotional if you haven't got to the end for the winning prize. So we take it all into consideration to kind of support them as a person and their emotions.
And that's good, because I guess it sort of might be a nice element of like meeting people as well and everything on the series. Especially what's it like when you catch a celebrity?
Yeah, that is good fun because
Yeah,
we obviously don't know who the celebrities are going to be. So as soon as the intelligence and the profiles get through to us, that's when we first find out who it is. So we tend to kind of like mark a card if there's a particular celebrity we're after. And if we manage to be the hunter team that gets that particular celebrity, oh, it's great. And, we wind them up a little bit. They're doing it for a great cause. They've offered their time to stand up to
yeah.
cancer. So yeah, that side of it is, and it's brilliant. You just get a really good feeling when you've caught one of them.
Is there any in particular favourites that you've done so far, celebrity wise?
As in favourite, as in captured.
Yeah, yeah,
I think Ollie Locke, if you've seen the series with Ollie Locke
yeah.
and Ollie
I've
Lock
seen
Lock and
that
Gareth Lock
post on you. Yeah,
So Ollie was one that I kind of marked the card as soon as I've seen it was him. And you've got to remember we're on the road every day. So one day we might be sent somewhere and it's for one pair of the fugitives. And then all of a sudden there's a hot lead in another direction and we go for that fugitive. So the hunters are not dedicated to a particular fugitive team. We all cross over. Sometimes the hunter teams come together. So yes, for that particular one, when we were close and I knew I was on the trail of Ollie Lock, and then to capture him, yeah, I was over the moon. I was so excited.
and I guess do you know when some of them get a bit too big for the boots as well and think that they're all over the hunters and everything, and then sometimes you do capture them. I bet that's another time that feels really like that you haven't got away from us
Yeah, we don't find it so much with the celebrities. There has been some
because
people,
they're, like you said, they're doing it for a good cause.
yeah, people get invested. And
Yeah,
like I said, it doesn't matter whether you're doing it for money or whether you're doing it for a good cause. The chase is on, so the
yeah,
adrenaline is constantly there. So when you do capture them, they do feel a bit deflated. The first thing they ever ask is, "Am I the first to be captured?" Because no one wants to be the first, and we don't let them know. They'll find out when they watch it being aired whether they were the first or not. We don't sit there and kind of divulge information of how we got to them. There is little slip ups that they find out and they didn't realise, had they not made that call, had they not turned up there, had they not purchased that particular item, maybe they would have had a longer time on the road. But yeah, I find it more, when there's the prize at the end for money, that is life-changing money for some.
yeah.
The emotions to think that they tried hard, they've never been out in the wilderness before, you know, they learned so much about themselves, but they're just so deflated and exhausted to know that, that money is no longer theirs. It's really heartfelt, actually. It's quite emotional when you finally meet up with them.
I guess I can understand where you're coming from as well, because they've tried so hard and, like you say, they're probably physically exhausted and they haven't managed to get to that final point.
Yeah, and for those that do get to the final point, incredible because they're up against some elite hunters and those, the guys and girls in the HQ, like I said, they are incredible at what they do. And the hunters and some of our hunters on the ground, they are fast. So if someone evades capture, even if we got close, they've done phenomenal.
Yeah, and like I say, I think it's a brilliant show and just a brilliant format. And I have to admit, I'm only quite a recent fan of the show. I mean, I watched the latest celebrity series, like we've mentioned, and the series that was on the normal one at the end of May, early June. And how did you enjoy filming that one? Because that really did get me hooked on it. I thought it was a brilliant series.
Which bit hooked you the most?
I think it was just I think some of the contestants as well, because some of them just were really, you got really invested in them, especially Nathan and James.
Yeah.
I imagine as a hunter, you weren't too keen on them, because I think they were the two that were a bit like, oh yeah, come and get us. I know there was a few videos and photos that they sent.
Yeah, Nathan and James, yeah, they were brilliant. And
Yeah,
you know, with all the kind of barriers that they overcome, you know, as us hunters, even though we want to capture everybody, we want a clean sweep, you know, there is some that just do so well. We actually want them to get to the end
yeah,
for them. And, you know, those people that do finally get to the end, it's like, do you know what? They played such an incredible game that they really do deserve it. Some of the celebrities, if we look at, you know, Richard Whitehead, our Paralympian, Ewan Thomas, that you know, that succeeded in invading capture. You know, Richard Whitehead, we had to run across farmland and over jump fences and just keep on going to get to him. This is not a we jump out of the defender, they stood there and we capture him. Sometimes the chase really is on.
yeah.
Um, and we get exhausted and yeah, when we finally do capture them, it's a great moment.
And I guess, like you say, there were people like that, and Nathan and James, like what they've overcome. There were really two that you were thinking, I hope they really do get to the end.
Yeah, I just think they shown the public what you can be capable of putting your mind to it. And I just think that their whole story, their whole journey. So some of the little things like, you know, them going to a football game,
Oh,
you know, that's a little bit,
that
you know, I
yeah,
remember driving in the Defender and the intelligence come through over the radio saying they go to football game. And I thought, football game, like you might as well book yourself in a spa while you're at it, lads.
yeah,
You're locking yourself in. However, there is a strategic, like good output to that, should I say, is the fact that the crowd, you can hide in the crowd, right? There is so many people there that you can hide behind stuff. So there is some thought process behind it. But if I was a fugitive, I wouldn't lock myself in somewhere.
no, it's some of their decisions were certainly questionable, especially the football game.
Yes, and I think that nearly caught them out, didn't it? Well, it
Yeah,
caught
well,
one of them out.
I think yeah, because Nathan made it to the money, didn't he? But James was caught, but he said he was still going to share it anyway, didn't he?
Yeah.
Which was good.
Yeah, they were brilliant, and we went to visit their family, obviously, because you know behind the scenes, not everything gets edited and stuff, and you know we do push the families, we test them, we question them, we try and get their way of thinking slightly different. So if they do communicate, you know, it puts them under a bit of pressure. We do have a laugh, but you know the lads did it incredible, and they were there with you know the biggest hearts and the biggest purpose. And yeah, it was one that as hunters we were all incredibly proud of when he made it to the end.
Absolutely. And I was going to say, do you have any in particular highlights from the last series, Nick? Because there was one moment, one capture that you and your partner did, which I really enjoyed. It was really good tactics. This one when Shoba and Amarinda were caught. Yeah,
It was this thing.
yeah,
Yeah, now that was really good. That was yeah, there was quite a bit of planning that went into there. And you know, people might look at the edit and they might watch the series and think, no, that was, you know, it was so fixed. It really, really wasn't. And sitting in the Defender with my partner, I couldn't console myself because what we was doing is listening to an open mic within the vehicle with one of our hunters,
really,
Shaz, as the driver, and we were listening to the whole conversation and we were responding to the conversation to ourselves. Obviously they can't hear us, and we were watching on the mapping where the vehicle was going, and there was one particular turning and the vehicle went past the turning and we were all like, no, like please, like come back. And when they did come back and turned into that car park, and then the Defender flew forwards and then we got on from the
yeah,
sides, it was just great. But you know, that was the adrenaline for that whole setup was great, and it just goes to show you good planning. The HQ did amazing planning for it. and it all went into practice onto the ground, and it paid off.
Yeah, and that was I think that was one of my highlights of the series, that one. And I think another thing what I want to pick up on of the series is I think one of the hardest things at the beginning must be when they have to, is it the Isle of Wight or the Isle of Man? Which was it?
Isle of Wight.
Isle of Wight. I thought that was it. When they have to get off there to get over to the UK. I think that must be one of the hardest moments on the series.
Yes, they're obviously every year it needs to be different and it needs to be ramped up. You can't have the same kind of drop-offs and
Yeah.
extractions and stuff. It's got to be interesting for the viewers to see. So yeah, we didn't obviously know that was going to be the drop-off point, the launch point. And lucky enough, I was in Portsmouth at the time. So when the communications come in, my partner was up in the helicopter. And when they said Isle of Wight, we were all shocked, that they're being dropped on this island and being brought in by boat. But they all did so well. I think you've seen, didn't you? One of them, they managed to persuade someone to sit in their van to get across, get across the ferry. I don't even know how they managed to get away with that.
Yeah.
But it's as we were crossing on the ferry, obviously you've got to wait for the timing. So we're sitting there really eager as hunters. We're on the ferry, but while we're on the ferry, they're crossing back the other way. So it's just like, and like I said, we don't know what's happened. We don't know when we leave the Isle of Wight. Did we leave fugitives on there? Did they all get off? And until we seen it aired, we were like, wow, like we didn't see that coming with them sitting in the back of the van.
I was going to say that as hunters, are you notified if even if you haven't done the capture, if another pair is captured?
Oh, definitely. Because
Yeah,
what
yeah,
happens is we've all got radios on, and we'll have radios for our lines and radios for the open line and it's a capture line. So, we could be driving or, wherever we are, we're listening in and we're like, go on, get them, you can get them. And like we're shouting in the defender and stuff. And then when they radio through to HQ to say, we've got a capture, everyone, I'm sure everyone, but definitely our defender, we just cheer.
yeah.
It's brilliant.
Two less to go, or one less
Yes.
if it's a Nathan and James scenario. But Nick, if I ask you if you change around your role and you were on the run, what would your tactics be, and how would you go about keeping yourself away from the ground hunters, which you'll know very well the role of, because obviously yourself.
Everyone always asks us this question. I think with me, I think you're right when you look at kind of the patterns. I don't think it's a case of, finding somewhere in the wilderness and bedding down for the entire time. There's definitely a process of continuing to move. I think a couple of clever roles is, if you have to make a cash point withdrawal, make it right at the beginning. Don't go through all the effort.
Yeah, before the series starts, yeah.
Yeah, so all the hunters are going to be deployed where the launch is, but no one knows if they're close enough. And also, like if you're dropped in London or a built-up area, go to the cash point now. And then, because what's the point of spending 10 days evading it to then do a cash point withdrawal, which pings up to everybody, and now everyone knows your location. In theory, you've got to start again to move. Definitely stay away from associates. And if you have to go and see associates, then make sure that you go to a place where you've got so many associates that it's hard for a hunter to decide which associate to go and see. There's no point going to the one person in a village of that one person, because our guys are going to link that in the HQ, and that's the one associate place we're going to go to. So you need to kind of play smart. And I also think you need to, or I personally would be, change my dress all the time. Like my hair stands out a mile. It really does. And it's about just changing your image. So if CCTV does capture you, you're constantly changing. Just keep it going. Every time you've passed, a built-up area or CCTV, change it. Just continually keep on doing it and keep driving it forwards.
Because I think I'd be in the same boat as you there, because I think when you're watching the series, when people are going to associates, as you say, and obviously the HQ know who's in contact with who and who would be close to who and who they'd usually go to if they needed anything. And I think another risky thing is when people go and stay in people's houses, especially associates who they know.
Yeah, what about in the series where they stayed at an associate's, which was quite smart. I think it's Nathan and James, wasn't it? But then she rang for fish and chips.
Yes, yeah, and
And
you could tell where that call was coming from.
it's just little things like
Yeah,
that. It's like, okay, if you want to go get fish and chips, go on your own and physically go to the fish and chip shop
yeah,
and order. Don't use phones because they're going to be tapped. They're going to be, people are going to be listening. And if you're a person where your address is, one person registered and you're ordering for three, and we know you're an
yeah,
associate, it's pretty obvious we're gonna go there. So it's just those little things that people just don't think. And sometimes it's the pressure, or sometimes the relief of just being around someone they know, and all goes out the window, what they're doing. But yeah, it's just you just got to play smart, step ahead of the hunters. Not that you'll get a step ahead of us. Do you know what I mean? You've got to be
yeah,
pretty good, and
yeah.
those people
Gotta
that
be
get to
good.
the end, yeah, are pretty sharp.
So if of course that was the last series that was on, end of May, early June. But I know there was some filming back in July. I'm aware. Looking at your Instagram and everything, I think there was some. Was it another celebrity one? I think.
We've done another main and celebrity,
Oh,
so they've all
brilliant!
been
Yeah,
filmed. Um, we can't confirm the dates, obviously. When you see it publicised, and for come out similar to last year's. So we're looking at the celebrity one first. That might be January, and then a couple of months after that, the main will be aired as well. But this is a good one. Yeah, like Baker, you're going to have to tune into this one. And I know probably every year people say, "Oh, wait for this one," but this one is an absolute brilliant series.
absolutely, and I'm looking forward to that because we've been saying I can't wait for Hunter to be back on the TV.
Yeah, it's yeah, we loved it, and it was slightly different because obviously we was filming in much better weather this year. We had the sun on our side, which always boosts people's morale, and it's much easier. But yeah, like I said, this one I can't give away any spoilers, so don't be asking me.
No,
But yeah, Celebrity in Maine, it's yeah, they're ones not to be missed.
fantastic, and thank you for that chat about Hunted. It was brilliant, but we're now going to move on to another big thing, which is your PK challenge, which you are doing with all of the other hunters, raising vital funds for cancer research. Do you want to explain what this challenge is about and everything?
Yeah. So PCAID is one of our wonderful hunters, James. He had a vision to begin PCAID with support of JP, one of our other ground hunters. Now, this is all in support of one of our fellow hunters, George. Very close to our hearts. Like I said, we all are just a hunter family across the board. And we found out that his wife had just been diagnosed with advanced pancreatic cancer. So, James had the vision of supporting Dawn on the process and for, other treatments. And both him and JP have pieced together. And it was to climb all the highest peaks across 94 counties. So there's 91 peaks. And he put it to all the hunters. And as we says, we all like to come together and support. So, whether people are supporting in the background, some people are doing social, some people are really out there, driving it forward, climbing the peaks, some people are fundraising. And that's where, Middlesbrough Football Club come in, they supported it. And it's been incredible just to see. And, for us as a team as well, the bonding that's come, we film, but when we're filming for Hunted, we are isolated with our team. So we don't cross paths unless the capture comes together. We don't cross paths with another defender, another hunter team. We all might contact each other over radio or phones or something, but we don't physically see one another. Whereas PK has really brought the teams together. And yeah, whether it's hunters from the HQ or ground hunters, we're there. They're bringing people have brought their children, their friends, and yeah, everyone's just trying to drive it forward. They've done over 50 peaks already. So they're absolutely smashing the challenge. And then Middlesbrough Football Club, come in to join support, and their generosity and their support has been second to none.
I was going to say, of course, you were down here last Saturday for the Blackburn match. How did you enjoy the time down here? And I'm aware you filmed Rory on the Run, which is there anything about when people will be able to see that or anything?
I'm not too sure when that will be out. That was a whole day of filming all the hunters
Yeah,
with the mascot, which was great fun. And like I said, Middlesbrough Football Club let us use kind of the stadium to shoot it all. So we're forever grateful. Um, it was my first time ever in Middlesbrough, to be quite honest. I've
really.
never been there before, so I felt like I was on a little holiday, even though the weather, didn't feel
Yeah, it's
so much of a holiday.
definitely questionable down here at times. Yeah.
Yeah, so I was there doing the show reel. I'm sure it'd be published on PKs if anyone wants to follow us on Instagram on PKs. There's a Give Penny page if anyone would like to donate towards supporting Dawn and cancer research. And yeah, just follow the story really, just follow the process and how the hunters are all coming together and what we're doing. And they will announce when the show reel will be there for everyone to watch. We were fortunate whilst in Middlesbrough, the hunters went to see Teesside Hospice as well.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And just, the individuals that work there as well, they are, we say to them, how do you come to work every day knowing, those individuals have got terminal illness and stuff? And they just said it was a complete and utter privilege to work close with the families, to change lives, and for those that have been diagnosed. So, all in all, the weekend was absolutely incredible.
And of course, at the match, I'm sure many people donated, which was incredible by the Middlesbrough fan base. And you what watched the match? How did you enjoy it?
I must admit, so we was there with the fundraiser burst, and we went round, and yeah, the fans were incredible and supported and donated. I will admit I didn't stay for the match.
Didn't you know?
No, I didn't stay for the match. I was there all morning fundraising, but unfortunately, I'm cold even if it's sunny, and I couldn't sit for
Oh,
the game. Football's not really my thing, but I know everyone that could stay thoroughly enjoyed it.
because it is a very cold stadium. Even in August, the summer months, it's freezing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, no, it was just great. And do you know what? We had an expectation with James and JP what they'd organised with Middlesbrough Football Club, but when we was there, we just had no idea the extent of support and organisation to put it into place. So we are forever grateful as hunters of what they've done.
And it's just amazing to see because what you're doing is amazing. It's very important, and to see the football club supporting that is brilliant.
Yeah, it just sort of blew our minds, to be quite honest. The generosity and the generosity that comes with kind of our family, like our hunter family as well, how we all pull together and then see that extended by other people outside of hunting to kind of support the process and to support Dawn. It's all for Dawn. And yeah, we just want to try and give her the best opportunity to get back up on her feet and know that she's got every single hunter. It's like thought and heart with her every step of the way.
Absolutely. And do you want to say anything that's coming up with PK? What else is with the climbing the peaks? What else is to come?
There is a fair few peaks still to hit, but like I said, over 50. I'm not sure of the actual total right now. Last weekend it was 53, but I know, the hunters have smashed them. There is a lot of Scottish peaks to be done, which is
Tough
extremely
ones.
difficult with the
Yeah.
weather. James has been up there, and I'm sure it was about 13 peaks he did on his own, and they're not easy peaks. So yes, for the rest of the rest of October, it will continue the peaks. We will hit the target no matter what. Blood, sweat, and tears as centres will make sure that the challenge is complete. But yeah, please follow the PK page. Please offer as much support. We've also had the likes of Workwear. They provided all of our kits with PK'd on it for free to support PK'd in the process and the charity. So they have been absolutely incredible as well. And we did Snowdon a couple of weeks ago, and thank goodness for the clothing that they provided because it was torrential. So yeah, like I said, there has been some incredible people behind the scenes, on the sidelines, as well as at the forefront doing these peaks.
And it's all brilliant to see everything coming together. And Nick, I'll be sure to share the links below to the fundraising page on social media in the description of this video.
Yeah, that'd be brilliant. Thank you, Baker.